What up, everybody? It's Ponter here, and today we've got a guide for the noobs on the support role. Because I think the support role is the easiest of roles to play, especially if you're completely new to the game. And yet it's very rarely played well, I find. So I got a game on Farmland, which is a very tough map for support. And I'm going to take you through this nice and slow. So basically, if you're completely new to the game, like I'm assuming you're completely new, like you just dropped on Discord and you're like, hey, I installed the game. I haven't played this game in 10 years. I'm a complete noob. Please help me. You know, if you're one of those people and you're smart enough to get the game installed, that's great. But maybe you need some help just getting used to the support role. So I'm gonna do this real slow because there's just a few things you need to know. So first of all, this is a pub game. We're not talking match modes, but it's a pretty competitive pub game. So first things first, you need to have some awareness of who is in the game. Like, what are the dangerous players? What are the teams like? What are the roles looking like? And what map are you on? Because that really impacts what units you bring in and what your strategy is going to be. So first things first, we're on farmland. It's big open space, which means no cover for AA. You're going to have some responsibilities to protect these all three of these CPs. And I know I kind of colored out the players that are important. So I know I have a good air player. Like, this is General X and his Smurf. So he's a good air player. This Dimension, I don't know who this guy was. He was like a Smurf or just a random ass player, but he turned out to be a very good armor player. So you need to know who are good armor players and who are bad armor players. And you can usually just ask around or look at the rank or look at the player's average score. You'll figure it out sooner or later. You have an infantry player, so it's always good to have an infantry player. And then that's me playing support. On the other team, probably more important is to know who is who are you going to be playing against and what roles are they going to be doing. So USSR has, we'll see what roles they actually choose. But, they have some dangerous air players. Like Wally and Unranked are very dangerous air players, and they're going to have some dangerous armor players as well. So, and the teams are pretty even. So when you're considering what to call in, and the other thing is, like, I'm the only support player. So if you're the only support player, there's dangerous air players on the other team. The loadout that you should bring, and it's farmland, the only loadout that you should bring is 4 heavy anti-airs. No rep tanks, no artillery, just absolutely nothing but AA. Okay? I don't care if you think, well, I'm only going to get 1 rep tank, or I'm only going to get a medium artillery, or I'm only going to get 1 heavy artillery. Just no. You're not good enough. Not good enough to play anything but only AA. Okay? Especially on this map. Just don't even think about it. And then look at this situation we've got. You have to choose to send either 1 AA to cover here, 1 AA to cover here, and maybe 2 AA to cover the bridge, which is the most important. But you're up against an air player like Wally who can kill at least 2 or 3 AA in one go. So this is a problem. And this is a problem you're going to face in every game as a support player, because there's just enough good air players kicking around still in public games that you're always going to be facing a dangerous air player pretty much constantly. And you're probably going to be alone while playing support, or at least you got to assume it. So you can't just send 1 AA to to his side. So if you see here, I'm sending 3 AA because I in the direction of Wally, and I'm going to keep them kind of together. And my first goal is to defend Dimension, who's preventing the cap. I fail. I target the scout, and I get him. That neutralizes the threat a little bit, and I try to prevent the cap. Normally you shouldn't throw away AA units like this, but in the pursuit of preventing a cap of bridge, I'm going to do that. And, you know, I fail, but it's worth the risk in those regards. And then once you cap the flanks, you're going to want to collapse back to where the weak point is. And notice, like, I'm going to call in... Yeah, and here's the other thing. In the first few minutes of the game, around the 18-minute mark, the cooldown for your jeeps will be done, and you just call in 2 rep jeeps. You drop them separately somewhere where you don't want them to end up, because the opposing team will be able to see them come in. So you drop 2 jeeps immediately, and then you move them up to the front in a good spot, because if you notice, the air players need repairs, and you don't have the reinforcement points to call in a rep tank of your own in this situation, because you have you have to cover this whole space. You have to protect 2 armor players, one of which is an idiot. We'll see later that in action, and there's no way you're going to be able to contain a good air player with any reinforcement points wasted on rep tanks in the initial stages. Some other things you're going to want to do is keep zoomed out. And this is a mistake. Keep zoomed out so you can see where the air is at all times. So, like, don't play close up like this. And then the only micro you have to really do is targeting scouts, which you just, select all your AA, and when you see an air player, just right-click the scout. It's really easy. The other micro you want to do is the TR micro. So stop is bound to T, and smoke is bound to R. You can see here. Again, like I'm targeting the scout. Very simple. Target the scout, neutralize the air. And I'm staying here to help out with the cap. And yeah, my jeeps have landed, and now I'm moving them up here to repair. And yeah, if you see an air player, you hit TR. Your AA will stop in the smoke, and then when you're in that smoke cloud, you can click a little bit to the side and move your AA within that smoke cloud so you can't get attack grounded. I mean, it takes practice, but it's pretty straightforward. Other thing support should always do is not stay in the open. So you'll watch this guy. He was hiding back here, safe from the armor player, but as he rolls in the open, he's going to get sniped by tanks. So usually you'll want to path them. And if you notice you're getting shot at by tanks, just pop smoke and run away. And you'll see here, again, chasing away Wally. And I'm just charging. Like, it's almost more important to chase away the air player and protect the tanks than it is to survive in a lot of cases. And I'm just sitting here to prevent a cap. Now notice, this is a good armor player. Like, I didn't know who this guy was. I still don't know, but he knows his business. Because he does a simple thing like, he's not going to request repairs because these jeeps will die as soon as they come up here. So he's just going to pull back his tanks. And you can do that with your AA as well. Because again, you don't have the reinforcement points for your own rep tank, but you're just going to need to get repaired too. And here, I'm denying the cap. Suicidal, yes, but every little denial helps a lot. And yeah, just keep collapsing. In this stage of the game, it's all about just, your AA is going to die constantly. You just have to keep replenishing it and keep charging it into the area where you want to focus on it. And look, I'm not spreading myself out. Donald Trump's being an idiot, and this guy here, the other armor player, is just sending APCs on a huge flanking mission and requesting AA. Like, an AA won't survive here. So you're going to have to ignore stupid requests like that. So yeah, once again, Jeeps are repairing. I'm keeping the AA far back, a little too far in this case. But what you want to do eventually, notice, yeah, chase the AA air away and then pull back. What you want to do eventually is create either a line or some kind of geometric shape of AA in a close formation to support each other and cover the tanks. So depending on the map and depending on the situation, you're usually going to have like either like a straight line, some form of line, or you're going to want like a box or like a triangle or some shit. Usually like the strong shape. And then you just got to understand the range of the AAs and just keep them within. Like, you never want to have AAs beside each other because they are very weak when they're beside each other. And see, this is the positioning you want. Like, this is strong. This is going to discourage an air player. Like, Wally, he's not going to want to charge into that. And as you see, like, the movements that you should make are, as you see an air player come towards an armor, you should move forward. The armor should move backwards. And then you should move backwards as soon as the air leaves. So once again, Wally's going to charge in. I have these three selected. I right-click the scout, target the scout, and take him out. And yeah, sure, he kills one stupid heavy tank that didn't pop smoke fast enough. Like, that's fine. Because Dimension, the armor player I actually care about, is surviving. And yeah, sure, you can kill these stupid APCs all you want. That's fine. I have my line of AA very strong. And I just keep calling in AAs. And then the other thing you want to do is, once again, be aware of the range of these tanks. So you want to move around as much as possible. Once I realize that they're pushing here, and this is secure, you want to defend another area, and Dimension is already moving here. So I shift my whole line in order to have at least 2 AAs. Like, you should never have 1 AA alone. Usually like 2 to 3 is the minimum that you want in an area to protect. And yeah, see, look, I'm rotating the beat up AA comes back. This guy's an idiot, doesn't pull back his beat up tanks. Whatever. In the meantime, I'm sitting here trying to get involved in caps. That's just good practice. Like, if you're gonna be in an area, you might as well sit on a CP when you cap it to get more TA. And speaking of TA, I like to use like heavy airstrikes. That's kind of a map thing. I also like heavy artilleries to shake up enemy AA to help out our air player. Another thing that the support player usually does is save the TA for nukes, and that's map dependent as well. You know, if you have if you're on like Space Needle, for instance, you might just want to, and your support, you might just not want to spend any TA at all unless it's an emergency, or for Jeeps. Also, more Jeeps the better. Like, you almost want like four Jeeps, and just keep them in different areas. So, and you don't want to keep them too far away or too close. You need a Goldilocks zone for Jeeps. But yeah, you got to assume that some Jeeps are gonna die. Like, these got pretty lucky through this game. Like, I murder Jeeps in any other case. Other things you can spend TA on are air-to-airs, or killing other Jeeps. I don't really like using air-to-airs, but some support players swear by them. Other things, like if you notice there's inf that's killing you, like in this case, you can drop some light RDs or napalms. Those are very effective. And once again, like, my AAs got killed here. I notice I'm weak here. I need to focus again on setting up a network. And yeah, just getting obliterated by getting obliterated by tanks. That's what happens when you get too close. But I'm just going to sit on this point and deny it and pop smoke. And again, I move a little bit. And desperately asking. Like, this is just bad practice, guys. Like, if you have a beat up heavy tank, pull it back. Don't move it forward. Ugh. It's terrible. And once again, I'm here scaring him away from anything. And really, this is, even though there's one dangerous air player, this is actually not the worst case scenario. You can sometimes get like 2 or 3 dangerous air players on you, and that's brutal. Like, at that point, you just have to beg for a medium air or more support. So yeah, great cap dimension. Yeah, really good stuff. You know, it's really hard to play support in any level with terrible armor players. So it's great to have. It's almost like not worth playing support unless you have a good armor player. In my opinion, it's just awful. Like, yeah, but that's not for this video. Again, target the scout and just watch. You know, he killed that really good tank, but you know, we sacked some of his choppers. That was lucky. And now we're gonna pull back and spread out. And also, when you, like, he got really close to the jeeps, like he was over here almost. He probably had vision on them. If you know your jeeps have been sighted, you gotta move them. And once again, I'm on there for that cap. You know, that's just a way to generate score. And, you know, generating score is the important thing for support. So if you look, like, I don't know who their support is. Yeah, Good Player has like half the score of me right now. I think they have 2 support actually. Yeah, Good Player and Stoob, so they're kind of sharing their responsibility while I'm like alone. So it's probably why I have a little bit more score. But it's not very difficult. Like, I'm not microing the jeeps, and they are generating so much score for me that it doesn't, like, yeah, it's good stuff. And, you know, when you have beat up AA, like, I'm hiding because literally, like, you can't go anything past this line is going to get shot by armor. But the problem when you're spread out like that is you have weak positions here, and you can get dumpstered by air, which is exactly what happens. And this is why it's so fragile. You know, a good confident air player is going to see, okay, he's weak at this exact moment, and just blow you the fuck up. And these guys, just useless. And at this point, Donald Trump like realizes, like, well, maybe we shouldn't have one support on farmland against Wally, which is, you know, would have been good to change a lot sooner, but whatever. And yeah, watch this. Like, he just has to scan to kill that, but he doesn't. No scout. You know, that's a chopper player with no scout is not going to be as confident as a chopper player with a scout. But we're in disarray. Like, we have no jeeps, no TA to get more jeeps. At this point, like, the team's going to start crying for repairs. So you have to go against your better judgment and get some repairs, which I do. With the hope that Donald Trump can help out. But you know, just watch the contrast between how I've been playing support, you know, staying spread out and kind of like far as back as possible. This is what this guy does. You know, first of all, charging, he's got no line of sight. He's not protecting anything, he's just going up himself and just getting shot to shit. Then he decaps for no reason, even though he knows he can't hold it. You know, and then this is the response. Whenever you see a blob of support, you just drop a heavy arty on it and wipe it out. And he overextends and dies. you know, not very inspiring. Meanwhile, like, I stay back and stay alive and repair the actual tank, and he gets frustrated and changes roles. Like, yeah, good stuff. Meanwhile, on the right side, again, trying to get involved in caps, and I die. And things are not looking good for our team. Like, they're pressuring both flanks, and we're weak in the middle. Like, Wally's coming in for round 2. I managed to discourage him. And it's really, like, part of it's like a mind game. Like, 1 AA is a target. 2 AA is like, should I go in on that? 3 AA, if an air player sees that, unless they're like really suicidal or desperate, they're not gonna go in on that. And yeah, this might be helpful on the flank, but we'll see. But right now we're in we have no line of sight. They've pushed tanks up to the edge of the river so they can shoot deep into our spawn, and we're losing the game. I'm calling in more jeeps, and at this point you gotta like look at the map and try to figure out, okay, where can we attack and where can we defend. Like, brutal. Like, you just gotta hide at these at this point. And Dimension gets a scout, so we're a bit more under control. So at this stage, like, you gotta start begging for drops in the backfield, which we've done a little bit. Like, you can see all this napalm and shit. So we've been dropping there. Call in more jeeps, and just look at the armor player. It's beat to shit. And there's something you can do if you see a beat up ally. Just pop smoke for them. Because like, this guy can only take like a couple more shots. And yeah, look, like, in a straight up fight, the air player beats an entire support player. You know, it's not fair. Then they were pushing AA like deep into our spawn. Not looking good. Can we survive? Yeah. Now look, like, Wally, he's not gonna go in because he sees the AA situation is not good. But too slow on the popping smoke. Yeah, just look how denuded we are of AA. Like, there's 2 support players and there's no AA for these 4 heavies. And like, as soon as I move up, I'm gonna get shot to shit. Yeah. Brutal. But we've managed to deny the air player long enough and in enough places that we have a lead that we can protect. And like, look, Wally's like lost a lot of his ranked up choppers. Oof. I got shredded. But again, I see the armor player is going to go to the front. I still get wiped out, but I kill the scout. And we even get a good job from General X. So you know you've done well if General X isn't flaming you. And you know, that's how easy it is to play support. And you know, we got a pretty good score. So again, I cannot emphasize how important it is to not get artillery, to not overcommit on repairs, and to not spread yourself out too thin. Like, you need to have an interlocking shape of AA at all times. and if it dies, you know your team's gonna die, and that's really all it takes. You know, if you need any, you don't need to be great at micro. You don't need to be like super game smart. Like look at the score from reps. That was just from Jeeps. Like I didn't do shit for that, and I made like half my score just from like 2 Jeeps sitting around doing nothing. Like you don't need to have good micro. It's so easy, just to keep some Jeeps alive and you know keep them in a convenient place for your team to use. And you know you can shut down even the best air players in the game just by being smart. So hopefully that helps you support players, the noobs, and yeah, if you get RD, like I'm gonna kill you in the game over and over again, and your team will hate you. So that's lesson number 1. Everything else is irrelevant. So hopefully you can learn and not be bad at support. Yeah, thank you.